and welcome back to Scale Modelling Cafe, and welcome to this week's update. Not too much news, not too much to chat about this week, so hopefully it'll be a shorter one. Right, channel update. I still haven't got round to recording the audio for the final part of the Airfix Beaver. I'm going to try and do that tonight if I can. If not, we'll have to Rolex that till next week. But I'll try and get it done. I was going to do it today, and it's been such a busy day. Nightmare. You might even hear the washing machine on. Because I forgot to do that this week. So that's the final part of the Beaver. I put out a review of the Arma MiG-17 in 48 scale. That went up in the week. That's garnered some interest. It's a really, really nice looking kit in the box. I did say in the video I thought Takom had moulded it, but it might be kinetic. I don't know. I'll try and find out an answer for you. But it is, yeah, looks lovely. Someone mentioned that it was really very expensive, and yes, it is expensive. For what is actually quite a basic kit. However, when you consider that the the sort of next best one, if you like, which is the Hobby Boss one, is a nightmare to go together and not as well detailed as this. You know, you take your money and pays your choice. If you want a nice state-of-the-art, easy to put together, I'd imagine, not built it yet, MiG-17, then the Arma one is your choice. If you don't want to spend that amount of money on it, then go and get the Hobby Boss one and have a bit of a nightmare putting it together. Up to you. That's that. There are going to be more reviews coming along. What ones have I got? Right, I've got the laminar flow design Griffin Spitfire conversion. I've got that one. I've got the AZ models. Bouchon in 72nd scale. I've got the Mulberry kits conversion for the HA112K1L, which is the precursor to the Bouchon. I've got all those coming. They're all filmed. Most of them are edited. I just need to do a few tweaks here and there, do some title pages and stick them up. So look out for those. One of them next week. Right, project update. And I'm so close to the end on the Hurricane. It's here. It's painted. It's weathered. I do find that the last sort of 10% of a project takes 50% of the time. It gets me every single every single time, every single project. And this is obviously fairly straightforward. So painted and weathered. The painting, these are my own masks. The first time I've done my own masks, and I was really, really pleased with how they've come out. I did end up having to redo the circle because actually I thought I'd cheat on the fuselage roundel, and I thought I'd use a Montec set, and they'd got the size of the red dot wrong. So I had to fix that. I was very pleased with myself. The scheme I've gone for in the end is a Malta 242 Squadron Hurricane. I will say though that the serial number and the code letter is fictional. I made it up. The only one I could find was LES. It's a very well known one. It appears in lots of different decal sheets, and there's a picture of it standing on its nose like this and a bit of a nose over. But I thought, well, yeah, everyone has done that. So, you know, I just picked a letter at random. I thought I'd go for P and made up serial, although the serial is very similar to other Hurricanes in that theatre. The painting, I used paint masks for the camouflage. And as soon as I did that, Roy Sutherland, he of Barracuda Studio, sent me a message saying that by this stage of the war, they wouldn't have been hard-edged. And who am I to argue with Roy? My theory was, I've got the masks, so I'm going to use them. I could have just used them to get the pattern and then gone over the edges freehand. I could have done that. I could have raised them off the surface slightly. But I quite like the hard edged camo look actually. And when I looked at photographs of Desert Hurricanes, if it is freehand, it's such a tight spray pattern that it almost looks solid anyway. So I decided to stick with it. The weathering, I'm really pleased with the weathering and how this has turned out. What I did is I did a panel line wash just with capillary action zipping along the panel lines. Normally I'll do a sludge wash over and then polish it all off. However, because of the raised detail on the aft of the wings, top and bottom, that would exaggerate that detail far too much, I thought. So what I did is once I'd done the wash, I put a satin varnish down from VMS, and then I did 2 different filters. First filter I did Starship Filth, just mixed from oil brushes. The second filter I used Bright Flesh, like a dusty layer, over the top. A filter is effectively it's dirty thinners. What the grimy tone does is it just blends everything together, and then the dusty one obviously hopefully imparts a dusty feel. Chipping, I did something a little bit different on the chipping as well. So I had spray silver in all the various areas, and I was going to do hairspray. However, I decided in hindsight that that's probably a bit overkill. So I went in freehand with a brush, and I did all the chipping just like an Arma modeler would, with a very fine brush. I then got some of the new Atom paints from MIG Ammo and watered them down, mixed up a few tones, and then did some chipping in a lighter base colour over the top. Which I really like the effect of that, actually. Really distressed the paint nicely. And what did I do then? Right, after that, I did the oil work, that was it. So, dust effects down the bottom of the tail, dust effects on the sort of the back of the wings. That was like a heavier filter, so I put another layer of the filter down, and then I put the oil brusher on, and then I kind of blended it in, and it's really subtle, but it does a really good job of giving that sort of dusty look without being too in your face. Obviously I fly airplanes in the desert out here, and you get a really good eye actually for looking at the dust, and then the way that the oil and grime is attracted to, the dust is sort of attracted to that oil and grime, and you get some really nice effects. And anyone who says, well, train aeroplanes, they're kept really immaculate, and display aeroplanes, no, you're wrong. They leak oil. It's not always wiped off. They're not always pristine. That's not the case. So for a Malta aeroplane that was in really harsh conditions, getting bombed on, shot at, intense flying, I thought, yeah, let's really go to town on the weathering. And I was really pleased with underneath. So in that base coat underneath, what I did was I darkened considerably the azure blue and did some sort of dark staining, and used that as a base. Then over the top I've done some oil streaking, and on top of some of that I've done some post shading. And while I was post shading, I did the exhaust, which I was really pleased with how that turned out. Some of the exhaust stains on these Hurricanes were gopping. It's a very famous picture of 94 Squadron Hurricane. Some of those, and yeah, they look absolutely dreadful. Filthy. One of them, in fact, has got the painted exhaust stain. They've painted where the exhaust stain would go. I don't really see the point in doing that. Anyway, there we are. But yeah, really pleased. And some of the details, some of the prop, I haven't glued the prop on, it keeps falling off in my hands. Some of the details on this, so the prop, talking of which, really heavily weathered, it's dusty, no chipping, these were wooden blades, so no real paint chipping, but paint wear. That looks minging. I was really pleased how the exhausts turned out. That was just a base coat in a sort of dark red brown colour, and then oils over the top. the weathering on the fuel tanks. These did use fuel tanks in operations when they went doing night intruding, and they went Sochicide over into Sicily. So they were carried. Gone to town on the weathering on those, and yeah, and as you can see, here we are. Some things, little bits of extra detail for the landing lights. I got some Brain Gun photo etched. You know, that sort of 3-pronged spirally thing that's on the top of the landing lights. I put some of them in. They didn't quite fit. They're a little bit too big, so I just trimmed them down. They fit now. The lens covers on all these, it's just a push fit on the landing light lenses. That's phenomenal. And then on the wingtip, they've actually moulded a little hole for the bulb. So I did that with a brass cocktail stick and stuck them in. They fit perfectly. So you can just, as I did, bung them on at the end of the build. I've done some wiring. I got some brass tube and I fed some lead wire through the brass tube to make the little connectors. Done that. I've done some extra detailing in the radiator. I suspect, so there's actually sort of mounting holes for the actuator for the flap at the back. I don't know why they didn't do that. Maybe they just forgot or something, or maybe they couldn't mould it fine enough, so they left it out. But I've just done a little bit of brass wire, and I've also done a little bit of brass wire at the front as well. And there we are. It's almost finished. What I need to do is I just need to sort out the cannons. So I've put them in some photo etch burnishing fluid and put them in my sonic cleaner. So they look really nice. I need to give them a little bit of a dry brush, and I'm going to use some of the Ammo dry brush paint. This is gunmetal, just to highlight some of the detail. This stuff is brilliant. If you haven't used Ammo's dry brush paint, get some. It's amazing, and it's acrylic. Who'd have thought? So I need to just give them a little dry brush and stick them in. The wheels are all done. The reason they're not on is because I'm just going to wait for the undercarriage just to set rock hard, and then I'll come in and I'll glue the wheels on. That'll have to be next week. I've got to do the pitot. I've painted it silver. I just need to paint the bottom bit azure blue. The aerial's done. I just need to stick that on and remove the masking. That's it, and she'll be finished. So an hour's work, I reckon, and it'll be done. So yeah, loving how this looks. So much so, I'm about to order another one, and I may well do that Night Intruder version, because it's just such a beautiful kit. I'm going to say it now. Not only is this my kit of the year, I'm going to say it, it's the best kit I have ever built. And I've built some stunning kits. It's not perfect. No kit is perfect. But I'm going to put it up there. It's the best kit I've ever built. And it's going to have to take something really special to knock it off the perch as my kit of the year. Right, that's almost like a debrief on the end of the model, isn't it? But it isn't. It's I just wanted to get a little bit detail of the painting and the weathering for you, because I'm just really chuffed at how it's turned out. Right, so that's that. Like I say, that'll be finished next week. Then I've got the mammoth task of editing it down. Crumbs. I haven't even started that yet, but there we are. Right, and then what's next? I don't know. It's either going to be the MiG-17 or it's going to be the Mulberry HA112K1L. One of those two. I don't know. But I really ought to start the Tamiya F14 as well. That is going to be second. I want to get one of them done. I think what I might do is I might do the HA112, because I'm really excited about that. But I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Right, that's that. Okay, a couple of channel shout-outs. Ralph Ford and Kira or Syra73 sent me, very, very generously, sent me some super thanks. And every time that happens, it just blows me away that people are, you know, willing to contribute Yeah, it's very humbling. So as you know, I don't beg for likes and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not on any Patreon or anything like that. This is an extension of my hobby. I'm not doing it to try and make money. But any money that I do make, so that's a little bit of advertising revenue and the odd super thanks, all gets thrown back into the channel. So so thank you, Ralph and Sarah Kira 73. It really is genuinely humbling and extremely extremely exciting actually to receive that. Right, on with the questions then. Right, 420 scale models asked, so this is on the FX Beaver video. He asks, did the oil paint that I put in the exterior detail, so the rescribed panel lines and the rivet lines, did that affect the acrylic paint? Or does it affect acrylic paint? Now, the reason I do that is not for pre-shading. The reason I did it is so it shows up on camera so I can show you guys what it all looks like. And also, for me, what it looks like, because you know, I put a lot of work into doing all that riveting stuff, and I want to see the fruits of my labours, frankly. And also what it does is it gives you a chance to spot any errors that you might want to sand away or fill in, and do that area again. The primer I use is Mr. Surfacer, so it's not acrylic, it's lacquer based, and there's no problem. But to be honest, I don't think you're going to have any problem with acrylics if you used a say a one-shot primer, Stynol Res, any of those acrylic based primers. I'm sure you're not going to have a problem, because at the end of the day, it's not sort of big areas. It is all just the rivets and the scribed panel lines. That said, I've not tested it, but I can't see why it would affect it. I haven't got my glasses on. Mr. J244 asks why companies don't put markings masks. I think the reasons they don't put sort of roundels, crosses, the numbers and those sorts of things is because it takes effort to design them all. There is a cost involved of the masking sheets themselves. And to be honest, the vast majority of modelers would much prefer to use decals anyway. And if you want those things, there are aftermarket companies that will do them for you. So there are companies that will do custom ones. And obviously there's Montex and other companies out there that do provide those if you want to go down that route. So yeah, aftermarket is your friend for that kind of thing. Obviously it's relatively limited. Not every kit is catered for, clearly. However, for example, Montex, it'll say, right, Spitfire Mark 5B, whatever, for the Tamiya kit. Now, the reason it says it's for the Tamiya kit is because you get some vinyl canopy masks. And to be honest, I hate vinyl canopy masks because they just don't stick. They just always lift, especially around curves. So I would buy, go and take the trouble to buy the Montex mask, even if it's for a different kit, and just get some tape canopy masks for your kit, and you'll be away. The other solution is do what I did and buy a Silhouette Portrait 3. Mine cost about 150 quid. I downloaded some Affinity 2 design software. That was some more pounds. Not a lot, 50 quid, something like that. So for a couple of £100, you're up and running. And the Aura Mask vinyl is cheap as chips. And I'm so pleased. I'm just chuffed to bits with how that thing's turned out. And this week's job, if I'm not editing, will be designing the Spanish masks for the 109J, HA112K1L. So I need to do those as well. Right, I hope that answers your question. And the last one was from actually on Facebook. So it's another place you can put your questions. Stick them on Facebook if you want, or send me a PM. So Pavel Pavsko asks, what stencils did I use on the Hurricane? Because he was very impressed with how they looked. And he asked whether they were HGW, and they were HGW wet transfers. So they are, so you get your stencil sheet, but it's on one continuous piece of carrier film. So you have to individually cut the stencils out. But that's good because you can cut a large area around your stencils, which is exactly what you want. Because you're going to peel them off, the carrier film. Like Edward decals, you're going to peel them off. And I think they are brilliant. They are just superb. And you can get them with markings as well. But obviously I sprayed mine. Yeah, absolutely superb HGW masks. I'm a huge fan of them. And yeah, they work the same as Edward really. It's Edward print the carrier film around. But yeah, HGW wet transfers are just the dog's knob. There we are. Right, on to the news then. Oh, sorry, before that, so if you've got any questions, you could just stick them in the comments below on this, or if it's a specific video I've put up, you can stick them in there, or you can pop over to my Facebook page, the Scale Modelling Cafe Facebook page, stick them on there, send me a PM, lots of ways to pose your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Right, on with the news. Not a great deal this week. Clearprop have announced another MiG-23, this time the MLD, which is the export version that Ukraine had, and it comes with Ukrainian marking, so that's really nice. Obviously I've got the other three when they've all come out, and yes, it's coming to the channel. It's just a bit of a backlog. Definitely going to do it. Right, Trumpeter have done a U2 TR1 type thing. I can't remember the name of it. It's the one with the big sort of radar lump thing on the spine and the extended wingspan. So they're working their way through those. But that's 48 scale, and that's going to be a big old model. And JetMads are taking pre-orders for their 132nd scale Draken. And that looks to be a really nice kit. And that's it for the news. Fairly quiet. I understand that the Mini Art P47 is going to be out in maybe a week, if not 2 weeks. The Gannet, Airfix Gannet, is out either at the end of November or beginning of December, so you might not see it at Telford if you're going to Telford. But yeah, certainly out before Christmas. And yeah, Edward's 109 G2, G4 in 72nd scale is also out imminently in the next week or two, and I'm going to get that. Right, there we are. Phew. I thought that was going to be short, but actually I waffled on quite a long about this beautiful, beautiful model. And if you haven't got one, get one. It's just amazing. In fact, I should have mentioned that in the news, haven't I? They've just announced the Dieppe version, which I'm not surprised about. And they've got an 87 Squadron aeroplane on the front. There we are. Right, so I'm going to put that down before I break something off. I'm now I can hear that the washing machine's finished, so I need to iron my flying suit and stick the tumble dryer on. So, God blimey, you're getting all the inside behind the scenes news tonight, aren't you? So thank you very much for watching. Look out for whichever review is going to be in the week. And hopefully I can get the voiceover done for the Airfix Beaver, and you'll get that ASAP. If not, next week. All right, I'll see you in the next one. So cheers, bye-bye.